October 22nd, 2025. This is the NI versus AI podcast. I am your host, Charles Linhart. And as some of you know, I do not write anything down before I record these things, not even notes. I just think about the topic for a while and then kind of hit record when I feel called to do so. So I've been thinking about a bunch of different episodes, upcoming episodes, and some of those ideas might bleed into this one. So I might meander even a little bit more than usual on this one. Just be forewarned. Today I have a topic which I think will be very actionable for those of you who get it, grok it, whatever. And that is affirmations. And I'm saying or stop saying Chuck. So the topic today is affirmations and how to do them and how not to do them and why this works and that doesn't. And there's some side journeys off into poison ice cream and sort of pop notions of manifestation and the law of attraction and all that stuff. I'm going to debunk a few things and try to pick the poison out of your ice cream. Because let's face it, if you want to poison somebody, you don't say, hey, Bob, eat this poison. You go, hey, Bob, here's a bowl of ice cream. And little does Bob know that those chocolate chips are actually little chunks of, strychnine or whatever. And a lot of these like pop culture manifestation, like law of attraction, law of assumption things are exactly that, poison ice cream. It tastes good, it sounds good, it's sweet, it's, all I have to do is get my vibe right and think about the thing, visualize everything I want, and then I'll get it. It really does not work like that at all, because we don't get what we want. Thank goodness. Most of us want really stupid things. Like you ask people what they want. I want $10 million. I'm going to visualize $10 million. I want a hot lover. I'm going to visualize a hot lover. Oh, yeah. I want a Lamborghini. Whatever it is. What we want is not what we attract. We attract what we are. We attract what we need. We attract what we deserve. The last episode about karma is kind of about that. You do get what you give in this world. So if you're a real SOB and you're manifesting a hot lover and a Lamborghini or whatever, you might just get that for a little while. The devil loves to give gifts here, but it's poison ice cream, Might give you some pleasure, but it won't give you happiness. And I'll do a whole other episode on the difference between pleasure and happiness in the coming days, weeks, months, whatever. So that's the poison in the ice cream of like the secret. Oh, all I have to do is think about it and visualize it and, raise my vibration and I'll attract everything I want. And that's only a little bit of the poison, because another part of the poison is it can become a self-reinforcing negative feedback loop, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that at all. So you start telling yourself affirmations like, I easily attract abundance. Well, first of all, you're not trying to attract abundance. Let's just be honest. You're trying to attract money. So if you want money, that's where you need to put your focus, and not in that way. Not in the I easily attract money thing, because you do that and a few months later you're still broke, busted, and disgusted, and you go, oh man, this manifestation stuff doesn't work. I guess I better just get back to my crappy life, and I tried. So there's another bit of the poison. If you do it the way they advise, it won't work, and then you'll give up. Okay, so what does work? I'm no psychologist or expert in that field, but I do know some pretty successful people and have enjoyed a fair measure of success in my own life in various areas, and also failures, and here's the thing about that poison ice cream, those gifts from the devil. It's like, if you get those things you want, they turn out to be curses. So you get that Lamborghini and you're like, oh, look, I've got a Lamborghini. And then you're like, holy shit, it's $2,000 for an oil change. Oh my God, it's $20,000 to replace the tires. Oh, geez, now it's, before you know it, you have a broken down wreck that you can't even drive. If you're going to get a Lamborghini, you better make sure you have the money to afford the cost of owning it. And you better take it to the track and wind it out, because it's a race car. That's what it's designed for. If you're not taking your Lambo to the track, then you're just a, kind of a small wee energy guy who was a dumb shit and made your first million and spent half of it on a car. If you get that hot lover, you're going to find out that, they're a serial cheater, and they give you herpes, and they break your heart, and they drain all your resources, and, you get that $10 million, oops, you screwed up on your taxes, and, now you're broke, busted, and disgusted, and possibly on your way to, the pokey for tax evasion. The greatest, like I said, the devil, he loves to give you gifts, but it doesn't always turn out the way you thought it would. And, so don't, what is that? The greatest curses are disguised as blessings, and the greatest blessings disguised as curses, or something like that. So, you go through something rough in your life. I don't know. Let's say you experience a period of homelessness. I've never experienced that, thank God. I can't imagine what that must be like. People look at homeless people and they're like, oh man, that guy's just a drug addict or drunk or whatever. It's like, what would you do? You don't have a nice warm bed to go home to and sleep in, and you're dirty, you're eating out of trash cans. It must be a horrible existence. Of course you're going to take drugs. You got to kill that pain somehow. So you go through a period of homelessness, and through that experience, you develop an appreciation for just having a home, the simple things. Oh, I have a nice, warm, clean bed to, sleep in every night. I have food on my table, and maybe you're more compassionate toward people who are homeless, and it might, on net, be a blessing. So let that carry you through your rough times. If any listeners are experiencing rough times or terrible circumstances, this might just be a blessing for you. So back to the topic at hand, affirmations. Manifestation. Okay, so first lesson is, don't try to manifest what you want. So don't be like, oh, I can fuel myself with $10 million. That's the ice cream. And all the greatest lies are imbued with a bit of truth, because they have to be, because that's part of what makes them believable. The other part is that you want to believe it. You want to believe that it's that simple. All I have to do is, feel it and visualize it, and it'll happen. You want to believe that lie, so you do. But the truth is, like I said, you attract what you are. So if you want to attract a higher level of existence, then you have to vibrate at a higher level. And yes, a higher level of existence often comes with material rewards. Usually it does, but sometimes not. There are plenty of monks out there in monasteries who are blissful. They get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and ring a big bell and meditate, and I don't know. I've been there. I've been to many temples, and I feel that good vibe in those places. I feel it in Buddhist temples, and I feel it in churches. I haven't spent a lot of time in mosques or synagogues, but I assume that those places also have good vibes because, hey, they're built for a higher purpose. So obviously there's some higher vibrational energy there, which once you reach that higher vibrational state, you will be able to access and recognize. So there it is, what not to do. Don't try to manifest the things you want just by thinking about them and visualizing them. Second, and this is very important, your affirmations must be true. If you're lying to yourself, all you're doing is reinforcing the negative. So if you're saying, I attract abundance easily, or my soulmate is on their way to me right now, or whatever, again, 6 months later, you look and you're still broke, busted, and disgusted, and you're like, oh shit, this doesn't work. This is bullshit. So, if you're saying that you easily attract money, and then, your subconscious mind knows that you're broke, then what that does is anchors the brokenness, because your subconscious will harass you about that. Like, you liar, you're so stupid. So your affirmation, instead of I easily attract money, should be something like, I try my hardest every day. I work hard every day. I do my best every day. Those are the affirmations you need to be doing, because those things might be true. And I am affirmations are also good, but not I am doing. I am attracting abundance, no, I am adjective. So and it must be true. It must be something that you know about yourself. I am intelligent. I am hardworking. I am kind. I am handsome. I am lovable. I am whatever it is, whatever it is for you. But it has to be true. So tell yourself, reinforce those things about yourself, those good things that are true. Your affirmations should be true. And if it's a performance thing, here's a little trick that a lot of professional athletes and CEO type people, some of your top sales people, this is I don't know if I should even reveal this I'll reveal it. What the heck with it. So your subconscious doesn't really separate fact from fiction. So if you see, this is why movies and TV shows are such a splendid and effective means of propagandizing people. You see all these movies and there are these evil Arabs trying to blow up the world, and all of a sudden you think, oh, all Arabs are evil, and that hasn't been my experience. The Arabs that I've met have been decent people, whatever. But you see enough movies with Arab villains, and all of a sudden that becomes your reality, because subconsciously you don't separate fiction from you. It's just you have these impressions and you take them as real. So let me ask you something. If you look at yourself in the mirror, or you tell yourself, even if it's true, it might be the truest thing ever, you say, I am highly intelligent. Does that hit the same as if someone else says it? So someone says, hey, Joey, you're really, really smart. I never really would have figured that problem out the way you did. Right. So, yeah, in the end, you have to validate yourself, but external validation can feel really good if it's honest. So the technique that athletes and, top salespeople and business leaders and politicians do is you put the affirmation in the second person, you. So you look in the mirror and you say, man, you got this. You've seen this before. This is no problem for you. You're a badass. You're highly intelligent. You're highly capable. You're going to make it through this. No problem. Guys, young men out there, if you're about to go on a date and you want to score, I used to do this a million years ago without realizing what I was doing. But you're going on a date, you know, you get yourself all gussied up, you shave, and you put on your cologne, and you put on your nice clothes, and you comb your hair, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you say, man, you are handsome, you are charming, you are irresistible, you are seductive, nobody can resist you. You know, you are so getting laid tonight, and when you get laid, you're gonna just fuck her like there are people walking by. You know, you're gonna fuck her like she's never been fucked, and you are gonna make her addicted to what your dick did because you are a badass. And then you fluff your collar or whatever and step out the door. And I guarantee you're getting laid that night. And that's what professional athletes do often before big games. They'll be like, you are a badass. You're on a winning team. You're a winner. Nobody, when you're on the mound, nobody can get past first base, whatever. They do it with you, Politicians will be like, you are a man of the people. Everybody loves you, whatever. So that's a real secret there that I'm sure some people are probably mad at me for revealing, but yeah, put your affirmations in the form of you, but they have to be true. So number one, your affirmations have to be true. Number two, they have to be, well, they don't have to be, but it helps if you do it in the second person. And as a reader of Cicero, I know that rhetoric comes in threes. You are this, that, and the other. So one, it has to be true. Two, it helps to do it in the second person. And three, it has to be actionable. So it has to be something that you can actually do, or it will help you do things. So when you say, I try my hardest every day, I work hard, I overcome all challenges, I'm a good person, and a lot of people have my back because of that. My karma is good, I do the right thing at all times. These are all things that are actionable in your day-to-day life. And, if you do these things, then you'll be successful. You'll begin to build a higher vibrational existence. And who knows, that higher vibrational existence might just get you a Lambo, or it might get you enough money that you could easily buy a Lambo, but it's like, I'm cool with who I am. Lambo to, attract women or whatever, and I don't want to attract those kind of women anyway. So yeah. Wrapping it up here, the law of attraction is real, but the way they tend to teach it to you in pop psychology is just poison ice cream. Just sort of true, but not really. You will attract what you are. You will attract what you need, good or bad, and you will attract what you deserve. So make sure that your affirmations are congruent with those things. Make sure your affirmations are, rehashing here, reviewing. One, true. I am intelligent. I work hard. I do my best. I try to do the right thing. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting there. Whatever. They have to be true, because that'll set you on the course to do what you need to do right now, today. And number two, it helps to put it in the second person if you're trying to really amp yourself up to do something. You got this, man. You've been through this before. You're a badass. Nobody can fuck with you. You're the shit, man. Like, come on. Look at you. And again, that's because your subconscious doesn't really differentiate fact from fiction. And when you put it in that form, it actually sounds like it's coming from someone else, which is more valuable than if it's coming from you. And by the way, just side note here, let other people do your bragging. Humility is really, really important. I don't care how great you are, how rich you are, how handsome you are, how hot your lover is. You're human. And the worst people I've ever met in my life have been some of the best people on paper. Oh, I went to Harvard Business School. I'm better than you, No, you're not better than me, dude. Like, you wouldn't be shit without me. If I weren't here doing the work, you wouldn't be shit. And you're only here because your dad is rich and he got you into Harvard Business School, So the worst people are the least humble. So be humble. And let other people do your bragging, Let other people, when you walk out of the room, what are other people going to say about you? Are they going to say, I'd like to think, maybe this isn't true, but I'd like to think that when I leave the room, people say, Chuck, he really, he's the life of the party. He always brings it, Chuck's a good dude, I would like to think that people speak highly of me when I'm not around. And I try to, when nobody's around, this is a real test too here. And part of your manifestation, law of attraction thing. Again, we attract what we are. Be a good person when nobody is looking. Okay? When there's nothing to gain. Just be a good person. Vibe at that higher level. And that is what will manifest. Okay? So, I think I've said everything I need to say here, or everything I wanted to say. I have a bunch of episodes coming up that I think you might enjoy. One on humility, one on the difference between happiness and pleasure, etc. I suppose I should bring this back to the overarching topic of this podcast, which is NI versus AI. Remember, NI, natural intelligence, comes from within. Like when Francis Crick invented or, discovered DNA, there was no physical evidence. He was actually tripping on acid. He was on an LSD trip, and he had this idea of the double helix and, discovered DNA. It wasn't like somebody told him what DNA was, and all the good stuff comes from within, okay? And that's your manifestation process. You will attract what you are. So reach deep down inside, be authentic, and be the best you. It's you versus you. Oh, that's another upcoming episode, competition, comparison. So anyway, I hope this helped. And I wish you nothing but peace, love, happiness, and all the good things. Again, I'm Charles Lennart. This has been the NI versus AI podcast. Peace.